Hi everybody, my name is Chris Lemp and I'm from the Dynamic Drum School, and today I want to teach you how to add a cool drum fill to the 3 drum beats that you've already learned. So let's get started. Let's take a look at example number 1. If you haven't downloaded the free PDF, there's a link in the description below. So this is the actual drum fill. This is just a measure of eighth notes, so just 8 hits on the snare drum. This is also one of the really important rudiments called the single stroke roll. You're just going to be alternating your hands. So whichever hand you lead with, you're just going to start with that hand and then alternate back and forth. So if you're a right-handed player, you're just going to play right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. If you're a left-handed lead, you'll just do the opposite and do left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. You'll also want to count all the eighth notes out loud as you play it. So it will sound like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's practice this together. We're going to do this at 50 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Now let's try example number 1 a little bit faster at 70 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Let's take a look at example number 2. With example number 2, we're going to try putting the drum fill along with one measure of a drum beat. So this is going to be the first drum beat that you learned in the first video. We're going to play one measure of the drum beat and then one measure of the eighth note fill. Let's try this together at 70 beats per minute. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Let's take a look at example number 3. So with example number 3, what I want to do is start to work on 4 measure phrases. So we're going to play the drum fill every 4th measure. So we're going to play 3 measures of the eighth note drum beat and then 1 measure of the eighth note fill. We're going to add the crash cymbal on beat 1 every 4 measures. So it'll be on the 1st measure and then the 5th measure. So it's a total of 8 measures. Let's try this together at 70 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So let's take a look at example number 4. Now we're going to switch the drum beat. This is going to be the second drum beat that you learned. And we're going to do the same thing, 3 measures of the drum beat with a crash on the 1st measure and then the same eighth note fill. So what I want you to do now is hit pause and try this at slower tempos at 50 and build it all the way up to 90 beats per minute. Once you can do that, let's try this together at 90 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Let's take a look at example number 5. So this is the 3rd drum beat that you learned on the 2nd video. I want you to pause and do the same thing. If you need to play it slower at 50, you can build it up, adding the fill, but it's the same formula. You're going to add the crash on the 1st beat, play 3 measures of the drum beat, and then adding the same eighth note fill on the 4th measure. Now let's try practicing it together at 90 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So now the next step is to go through all 3 drum beats and try to play them faster. So I'll demonstrate with the first beat, example number 3. Let's try this together at 110 beats per minute. 1 and 2, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2. So now a really fun thing to try is to see if you can play all 3 beats back to back, 4 measures each with the fill on the 4th measure. So you'll hit the crash, play example number 3, 3 measures of the drum beat, 4th measure with the 8th note drum fill, then you're going to go back, hit the crash, switch to example number 4, and then do the same thing, 3 measures of the drum beat, 4th measure with the fill, then go back, hit the crash again, switch to example number 5, and then 3 measures of the drum beat, 4th measure with a fill. So let's try this together at 110 beats per minute. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 2, 3. Great, so now that you're starting to get comfortable with the 4-measure phrases, that's so important because if you break down most popular music, rock and pop and country music, you can break it down into 4-measure phrases. So you really want to start to kind of naturally feel that. Definitely count these examples, but as you start to get more comfortable, you'll start to feel the 4-measure phrases. So the next step is to see if you can start to feel 8-measure phrases. So what we're going to do is play the same 3 drum beats, but we're going to play them for 7 measures and then the fill. So we'll start with example number 3, hit the crash, play 7 measures of the drum beat, then the 1 measure of the 8th note drum fill on the 8th measure. Go back, play example number 4, 7 measures, we'll hit the crash at the beginning, 7 measures, 8th measure with the fill, then go back, play example number 5, hit the crash, the first beat, 7 measures of the drum beat, and then 8th measure with the drum fill. So if this is too fast, I'm going to do it at 110 beats per minute. You can always slow it down in the YouTube settings, but let's try it together at 110 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great, so now you've learned your first 8th note drum fill. So what's fun now is see if you can move the leading hand to different sound sources. So go through, like you could play the last example, play 1 beat on the hi-hat, then maybe the next 8 measures when you switch to another drum beat, switch to the ride. Repeat that for 8 measures, maybe try it on the crash cymbal or go to the cowbell. So you really start to get comfortable with these 3 beats and then this basic fill. And the next video, what I want to do is take the same drum fill and start to expand it around to the toms. See how many different combinations we can come up with. Because one of the things that I always like to stress is take something simple, something that you know, and see how many ways you can play it. That way you really understand it, it becomes a part of you. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, hit that notification bell. We'll see you next time. Thanks.